Uh, I was tempted to record this week's show in your apartment. Can you imagine? I was recording in your apartment because everyone out there, I have the keys to Michelle's place. It's a long story, but I do. So I thought that would have been funny, but I didn't do it. I didn't do that.
That actually would have been hilarious because
And not tell
I'm
you.
up here.
Like, wait, what? What? Doesn't that look familiar? I don't know what you're talking about. I got a virtual background. I would really freak you out.
You can get my apartment as a virtual background for Zoom.
Oh,
It's in the top 10.
it's very well documented that that's possible.
Exactly.
I'm Steve Reich, actor and lawyer based in New York here. And Michelle, why don't you give us your little spiel?
I'm Michelle Fix. I am a comedian, and I have also worked in fashion and home.
We can tell that you're a comedian because you said comedian.
It's one of the tip-offs.
Yeah.
It's part of the union. You have to do that if you're in the comedian union.
Imagine if people did that with other professions. Hi, my name's Michelle Fix, and I'm an accountant.
Oh, actually, no. I mean, like, my name is Michelle Fix. I'm an accountant.
An accountant?
Accountant.
Well, that actually, the way you just said that reminds me of one of my favorite humor, like comedic aspects. I don't know if we discussed this yet. I love sort of like out of the blue, seemingly unprovoked rage.
I've got a lot of it.
I love it. Where it's like, hey, could you pass the sugar? No, I will not pass the sugar. Like it's just like, so accountant. I love that. Impression of time, all of you aspiring comedians out there.
Oh, that's right. And don't forget the rule of threes.
Rule 3. Ain't no
Rule
joke.
of threes.
You can feel the tickle bone waiting on number 2. You're like, ooh, where's the third?
There should be a third. There should be a third.
You get pissed.
Well, no, but you know who's genius at that is Dave Chappelle. Because there's always a third. Never heard of him. There's always a third. But it's never when you expect it. He's a fucking genius.
He's playing like in a different turf. Like his third is like after an 8th count B. I mean, he's playing jazz over there.
Oh, absolutely. He's like, yeah, he's
to promote other people's careers. So I don't know what you're talking about. I never heard of the guy.
Steve, he's on this thing called IMDb. I don't know. Maybe you should be on it.
Oh, I'm on it. In fact, everybody out there, try and find me on it.
That's right.
Jack down the score.
Star meter.
They're so low. All these starlets in LA are like, oh my God, my star meter keeps going down.
It's so many things to track. My Facebook count, my Instagram likes, my star meter, how many Twitter followers I have, my TikTok bullshit. It's insane.
Hey, so I went to the dentist today.
Oh, I don't like the dentist.
Great news. Not all positive. Everybody out there, positive. Look at these. I got like brand new choppers almost. Look at those.
Oh, nice.
Even though
They did a full-on cleaning?
Your appearance setting is on. Touch up your appearance setting is totally clicking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got a nice cleaning, good chat.
Oh, good. No issues, no problems, no.
I had a run there where we had some gum issues because you know, very basically, I was lazy. I wasn't flossing enough, and I wasn't using an electric. Whoa, what do you expect's gonna happen? What do you think's gonna happen to those things?
Yeah. I think I mentioned to you, not on here, but I mentioned to you that my mom was not feeling good and she had a fever and she didn't know what was going on and blah, 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 blah. And it was like, you know, she answered the door and talked to this landscaper who was going to be doing something in the backyard and all this bullshit. And she was like, well, I didn't have a mask on because we were social distancing, but he kept getting closer. I'm like, you can't expect other people to social distance properly. They won't do it unless you have like an umbrella and you're fending them off. So guess what it was?
Don't say it.
She had a tooth infection. The whole fucking time, it was a tooth infection because she does the same thing. She does not floss. She does not water pick.
What a
She
relief.
doesn't brush properly. And so she was feeling all this stuff from a tooth infection. And I was like, that was it, Mom. And she was like, well, I didn't know. I'm like, you knew.
So
I'm going to chastise you. Don't scare people about coronavirus, people.
No, scare people about coronavirus, people.
No, if you know you don't have it, don't pretend you have it.
She didn't know she didn't have it.
She knew.
She knew. I think that summarized everything anyone ever needed to know about Michelle and her relationship with her mother.
Exactly. In a nutshell,
She knew.
She knew.
She's like maybe one of like 30,000 Americans who had a fever in the past 4 months, and it wasn't corona.
Probably.
I mean, low chance there. You know what I wanted to talk about? I was thinking about this before because you and I had an IRL chat. Guys,
Indeed. And we were masked up.
I need to real life. Keep up, okay? And we were outside. We had an IRL, and we were reminiscing about our fantastic circa 2008 Los Angeles trip.
Oh, that's right.
And, listen, we're big stars in the industry, so it ain't no big thing to go to LA. But that's the time you and I went together.
Yeah, it was fabulous.
And it was not a work; it was a pleasure trip. We just went to to live it up,
just to hang, do what apps,
and
take lunch.
We took a lot of lunches, and we had some adventures, didn't we?
Oh yes, we did.
And there's one in particular. I know you're gonna know what I'm talking about, where we had quite the sighting.
Oh yes.
Shall I begin this story?
Do regale us.
You and I never get tired of it. I remember it like it was yesterday. The sun was shining. We were on Rodeo Drive. Finished a little window shopping, if you will.
Indeed.
Needed a little snack. Well, and for anyone who's not really familiar with Beverly Hills.
That's such a loaded statement.
That's like worse than mansplaining. That's like rich-splaining. If you're not familiar with 90210.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you've actually been on the gilded streets of what's known as Rodeo Drive. It's pronounced Rodeo, by the way.
What did I say, rodeo?
No, you didn't.
Rodeo Drive. If you're not familiar with Rodeo Drive, you have this image that you're going to just stumble upon all these patisseries and cafes. And, well, I got news for you, Lucy. There ain't no, maybe it's the models. There ain't nowhere to eat out there.
Nope.
It's either like a highfalutin kind of like old world restaurant where you're sitting down for like a $32 Caesar, or you're SOL. Like I'm like, so you and I were kind of like looking around, and we really just found this kind of like in between. I mean, this was in 08. I don't know if they were around then, but to me, it sort of reminded me of like a Cafe Europa.
Yeah, a little bit, where you could get a little appetizer, a little afternoon snack.
Not really all that good, like kind of like, Cafe Europa was that owned by like Unilever or like Johnson and Johnson. It's
yeah.
Cafe Europa. We'll call it Cafe
Europa.
It's stupid. Oh, where we have paninis and they're all like lined up. It's like, oh my God, it's clearly got to be owned by Israelis or something. Like, everything. We said batteries, we said ice cream. It's like, oh my God, we said panini.
But it's functional. It's functional. Like when you're super hungry and there's nowhere else, you're like, oh, thank God, a Cafe Europa.
And you have a hankering for like a stale panini. There's nowhere else you're going. Maybe PAX. Maybe PAX.
I forgot about PAX.
These places they're not going to survive this pandemic. Because they're based on tourism dollars. Like nobody who lives here is like, I'm going to Europa.
Yeah, they're based on tourism dollars and a complete and utter lack of knowledge of where you are geographically.
Yeah, you're definitely going in there to like look at your map.
Yeah,
right?
And use the bathroom and maybe ask someone what time it is.
Maybe.
Because my phone died.
You see these like just like exhausted foreign fathers just kind of like nursing their soup. And the kids are like, and they've got merchandise from my other like hated store, the M&M store, which drives me completely bonkers. Like the M&M even came up with like the hegemonic capitalistic idea to sell merchandise with these stupid candy characters and makes a fortune.
Is this that rage of which you spoke?
A fortune. And people are like, we got to go to the M&M store. I mean,
I know.
so I once like was on this rant on a date once, and I was like, I could never interact with someone who shopped at the M&M store. And she was like, when my mom was here, I brought her there.
M&Ms.
How, like, these are candies that were created by an advertising company to sell candy.
Yeah.
And we're buying, like, you can't, it's flying off the shelves.
Although I will admit I have been to the M&M store because they have every single color you'd ever want.
Oh, of the candy.
Yeah.
If
They're
I
in
see candy
shoots.
there, I
They're
can't.
in shoots. And so you can mix like your own color. There's like 40 colors. It's amazing for anybody, because I've worked in fashion. Anybody who wants to like put together their own M&M colorway. It's pretty cool.
But anybody going in there and buying apparel?
No merch. No merch. No merch.
You know what? In the perfect sight gag here would be you like pulling up like an M&M mug and being like,
I know. Well, unfortunately, all I've had is a McDonald's thing.
oh, don't get me started. Okay, so
What? It's only $1.
yeah, great. It's great, Michelle.
But I think they fucked up my order. I wanted a Diet Coke. This tastes like a Coke.
Oh, I'm sorry. The underpaid, underprivileged workers risking their lives in COVID-19 pandemic with masks on so they can support their family on minimum wage, serving hot, steaming fast food garbage. I love it if McDonald's is out there. So I strike hot fast food, and they got your order wrong. You got a Diet Coke instead of a Coke. I'm so.
A Diet Coke.
Do you want to write a letter? Do you feel like you should go back and complain? Do you want to tweet about it? I mean, is that, you must be really.
No, I'm going to drink it, but I just wanted to mention it in case this blows up. I love McDonald's too. Clearly, I love McDonald's because I support them with my money.
But the original point of this, before I brought us down the rabbit hole that we love to dive into, was if you don't know Rodeo Drive.
McDonald's to Rodeo Drive in a heartbeat.
It ain't Paris. It ain't dripping with patisseries and places to have coffee on the side of it. Ain't
or smoke, as you were doing, smoke.
I'm gonna do a smoke thing, but yeah. So anyway, we stumbled into this like in betweener that was kind of like a Europa fresh food packs, whatever, and we're enjoying our little whatever it is because we're just like, ooh, hot out there, exhausting shopping.
So much shopping.
And I'm facing you. You're facing the door, as you do because of your mafia history. I
can never have my back to the wall, people.
Cosa Nostra, this thing of us.
By the way, side note, are you watching Fear City?
Love it. I mean, I know it all. And I don't mean like I know it all. Like I love this stuff, so I am familiar with all of the facts.
I'm not familiar with it.
That's great.
It is fascinating. I am so hooked. I can't even tell you.
Great. But again, we're not here to plug other people's careers.
Netflix. Did I tell you I love Netflix, McDonald's? I'm wearing Marimekko. Make fashion great again.
But if you're not familiar with Rodeo Drive, good point. We were in a you're facing the door, Casa Nostra style, and I'm facing you, and all of a sudden it was like all the blood left your body. It was like you had seen a ghost, and you go, oh my God. And I'm like, oh, I'm thinking, oh, we're due. Like we've seen a few celebrities, but we haven't seen like the Big Daddy. I'm thinking Clooney, who was drunk, who was inebriated and knocked me over in a bar once when I was 13. Sorry, no problem, no issue. I love him. I'm thinking Clooney. I'm thinking Clive. I'm thinking like Hugh Jack. I'm thinking the biggest fucking star it could be.
Yeah.
Turns out it was bigger than any of those people. Michelle goes, Steve. Oh my God. That's Paris Hilton. And I was like, what did you do?
Then all the blood went out of your face.
What did you do? Now, we're also going to take a time travel, a TTA here. Time travel.
Oh, yeah. Triple TA, time travel travel agency.
Time travel.
Time travel travel agency.
Time travel agency. I was thinking it's a
TA.
time travel agency. To 2008 or so, Paris was still a big fucking deal, man.
It was huge in 2008. Huge.
Still like she was still like climbing the ranks. It was the height of Rome.
Yeah.
You know, and
there were grapes being eaten. Yeah.
And so she comes in, and I'm like, what did you just say? You're like, this person. Play cool. I somehow squeak over, and here's the amazing part of this whole thing. It's Paris, Nikki, and the mom all having a little tiny private little brunch on Mother's Day. Mother's Day. Now, I'm going to get to a better part about this story, but we're so well oiled with this one because we could relive it every time we see it.
Oh, yeah.
So, like,
oh, my God.
We're starting to regain oxygen. I'm just like, this is a lot for me to take.
Yeah.
She goes to, PH goes to use the bathroom. And I'm like, I ain't letting this opportunity pass.
Bing, 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 bing.
Not weird. Hold on. I give her about 5 minutes. I get up. I figure if I go, maybe, we cross, whatever. You never know. Well, lo and behold, I head towards the bathroom, and Paris swings out of her stall. She's coming. She's like turning the corner, and I'm walking here, and it's like slow motion for me. It's like, and I'm just like, boom. And she's just all like, moment had. Paris gave me this like strong, and obviously my ego is so massive that I'm like, yeah. But here's what I think was really happening, and this is what I think stars do, because the only one whose ego is bigger than ours, or I should say mine, are stars. And what they're doing, I think, is they're trying to figure out if you know who they are.
Oh.
I think they're taking you in like, do you know me? And I'm like, you should know me. They're like, do you know me? Or Paris and I had a moment.
I'm going to go with you had a moment, because here's why. I think that
height of her fame.
A female star is going to appreciate it when clearly a male fan has the cojones to hold their gaze and not buckle
without a knife.
Exactly. So without a knife, exactly. Like not a creepy thing, but just you're an attractive human, I'm an attractive human, lock eyes, have a moment, and then be on your way. But that moment exists. I think it may have
helped that I had my halter shirt on that said Paris and cupcakes are two of my favorite things. I didn't. That's not true. But I think there is a bit of like, oh, like they're not intimidated by, and I'm like, oh, hey, you want to go out sometime? You want to?
Well, I think uber confident.
Hey, honey.
Uber confident people, whether they're on the narcissistic spectrum or not, but uber confident people appreciate other people who seem to have as strong a sense of self as themselves, because then there's not going to be this weird unbalanced dynamic.
I'll give you the greatest quote, one of the greatest quotes I've ever heard.
Okay.
Lions mate with lions.
Yes they do. Yes they do. That's the way it is.
That quote comes from a teacher at one of my acting studios who in the 30s slept with Marlon Brando.
Oh wow. I thought you were going to say that quote is from Joe Exotic. We've all seen it. Yeah. Although with Joe Exotic, it's like lions sleep with tigers or whatever the hell I want them to.
Right.
With me. Lions sleep with me.
Tigers. Yeah.
That was like amazing. So Steve rarely drives, right? And I drove practically the whole entire trip, right? Except when we went to Hooters.
I don't remember it that way.
Oh my God. We go to Hooters and we're having some wings and we're having some beers. No, we were down on 3rd Street in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
And then we were staying in Hollywood, in near the Los Feliz area.
Really? Ooh.
Yes. So then it's like, for whatever reason, Steve decides that after Hooters and a few beers, he's like, I'll drive. And I'm like, oh.
I don't think that's exactly how it happened. We did. Yes, well, here's the problem. We did go to Hooters, which I don't know how that happened in the first place either.
I don't know how that happened either.
So that happened. And then we went back to my friend's house. And from my friend's house, several hours later, I drove us back to our hotel. That's what happened. I was not driving from the Hooters parking lot with a couple of suds in my back pocket.
Yeah, you were.
No, I definitely remember because I never drive.
No, I definitely remember it because I was like, I strapped myself in and I thought, I need to make a will.
But here's the problem.
I don't have a will.
Here's the problem. Your memory has already been proven through documented video of our webcast, No Agenda, to be completely unreliable.
No, it's slightly faulty. That's different.
That's not different. That's like that box
unreliable.
Only has a spider crack. So anyway, but the point of it was I did drive us, and understandably you were gripping the seat with white knuckles. It was harrowing.
But we did pretty okay.
I haven't driven in 15 years. I think I'm gonna get back on the old horse out in Santa Monica in rush hour traffic. What do you say?
Exactly.
Red light. I came out of nowhere.
I know. It's like, oh my God. You actually did a pretty good job. The only thing that made me nervous was you are a nervous merger.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, merge, just do it. Just do it. Make a decision. Make a decision.
Well, also, who has stoplights on a highway? Los Angeles.
A lot of places. It doesn't make sense.
See, I'm still traumatized because I grew up driving in Boston where it's like, good luck, fucker.
Exactly.
Stop sign. I ain't got time.
I believe that's a suggestion.
Yield is like, oh, go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
So I always used to be like, like it's always like getting onto a highway is always like a bumper car, fucking,
Exactly.
Disaster. So anyway, but that that LA story where there's plenty more to it. We also saw Johnny Knoxville in a diner.
Yes, we did. We were at the Cafe 66 diner.
Good memory. We were rolling, man. We were just like, we were Icarus.
Yeah, it was good. Russian. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
The Paris moment reminds me of another moment I told you about that you don't believe is true. Or maybe it was Grace. I can't remember. But I fucked by Usher.
I did hear this. I was not there. I don't know where you were, but I could see that.
It was 2011. No, I was in New York. I was going to a casting in New York. the elevator comes down and this entourage comes out, and I clearly, you're not going to miss him. It's Usher. You know what he looks like. And he's in the back and he just locks eyes. And I'm telling you, like, guys know when another guy is given, like, we're not like women. It's like women like look like in the opposite direction, like like they catch a reflection off a satellite bouncing into a window in a penthouse, like across the river. And then, like, and they're like, why didn't he know that I was clearly giving him signals. Whereas a guy is just like, you mean now.
Exactly.
Fuck you.
It's so true.
Like it was just like laser beams.
Wow.
And of course, you know, it's Usher, so you're gonna let it. Yeah, you'll dance, you'll swim in that pool in that moonlight for a little bit.
Exactly. You're like,
He had a
well,
whole, like,
all right, okay.
to the point where one of his entourage looked back and was kind of like, "Are you coming?"
Oh my God. Wow.
Well, I ain't saying one thing or another, but what I'm suggesting is that on this particular day, in this particular moment in time that I experienced, Ush may be open. That's all I'm saying.